But because you asked that question, let me explain that a little more deeper. If you decide to visit with us, there is yellow sticky notes on the back wall. You just go get a time after class and you just stick it to your sheet and you walk out the door and hand it in. And then Brock or Leo or I will give you a folder on who we are. Commercial here, this 30-second commercial. And they'll give you an appointment card of the time you chose. When you come into the office, it's between 45 minutes and 1 hour. And in that 45 minutes to 1 hour, it is just a visit. We don't take any new clients on a first visit. We don't want to be pressured like that. We just want to get to know you and see what you're doing and then give you ideas. So then if you want to come back for a second visit, again, it's free, no charge. That's where we usually give you a written recommendation of what we think we can fix or do better. So take advantage of that, no obligation visit. We've helped a lot of people, so you might be one of those. But let's go back to the Social Security. So your income plan, please write down your full retirement age. Who's not taking Social Security yet? Who's not taking it? Okay, so this is important. Write your Social Security full retirement age. So mine is age 67 based on my year of birth. Yours might be 1956, 66 and 4 months, whatever the case may be. That full retirement age says that when you reach that age, you get 100% of your benefit because you waited. If you take it early, you just get less, right? But you get it for more years. So if you take it at 62, you might get 75% of your benefit, but you get it for more years. Also, if you delay, you're going to get 8% more every year you delay. So maybe at age 70, you get 32% more, but it's not 32%. It's 32% plus inflation. So last year, Social Security went up by 8 plus 5. Year before that, it was 8 plus 7. Year before that, it was 8 plus 2. Let's just use 8 plus 2. Every year delay, it goes up about 10%. So there's very important questions to ask when you decide to turn on Social Security. If you're single, it's a lot easier decision because you just have to think about yourself. You have to think about your life expectancy, your other sources of income, if you're going to do Roth conversions and all that, but it's pretty straightforward when you're single. When you're married, you have lots of more decisions to make. For example, spousal benefit. You get your Social Security or 50% of your spouse's, whichever is greater. So I'm going to use an example of where one spouse gets $3,000 a month, the other spouse is going to get $1,000 a month, both at age 67. So when this spouse turns it on, this spouse can do what? Take the spousal benefit and would get $1,500 a month. So
that's if she doesn't take her own, right?
Pardon me?
That's if she doesn't take her own.
Yeah, she's either going to take her own or the spousal. If she turns the spousal on, if she turns hers on first, she can turn the spousal on when this one's turned on. So you can take your own for a few months or years, but then you can change over to this one as long as this is turned on.
Well, what's the benefit of doing that?
You get $1,500 is more than 1,000.
But in reality, whether you take yours at 3,000 and she doesn't get anything, you're still getting 3,000.
You're going to get 3,000 plus 1,500 is 4,500. Yeah, it doesn't come out of your pocket. It comes out of Social Security because they wanted to promote. They didn't mind people staying at home and raising kids. They wanted to make sure it was kind of fair. Question at the back.
So you have to go to 67 in order to get that spousal.
You can take the spousal early. It's just going to be a little less. Every month you take it before full retirement age, it would not be half. It would be 49%, 48%. So
like if I took it at 62.
this one or this one?
This one.
So 62 would approximately be 70% of your full retirement age. So your benefit would be 70%. That you're going to get that. The spousal benefit is based on your spouse's age, and when they do it, they would either get theirs or a percentage of yours. So depending on the ages, we've got to do a calculation with a computer. I can't give you that off the top of my head,
So
okay?
you're saying that if I take full retirement at 67, and let's say it's 3,000, and she's 62, then she can get,
67 gives her half.
Gotta be
If
67.
she does 62, she's gonna get less than half because she's taking it early.
okay, but
Anytime you take it early, you're gonna get a little bit less.
But then when she turns 67, she can get hers on, she can turn her on full. Okay?
No, you can't do both. If she takes spousal at 62, she's stuck with spousal.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, she can't take one and then change. She can take her own for a few years and then switch to spousal, but she can't go spousal and then switch back.
Oh,
There
If you
probably
wait-
would not be a benefit to that.
If you wait till you're 70, does that 50% basis for the 70?
Great question, great question. Yeah, so if I waited till 70, and let's say my 70 would be 4,000 a month, my spouse would still only be eligible for 50% of that number. So if I delay mine, after 67, it does not increase the spousal. So generally speaking, if there's a married couple and there's a big disparity here, generally we won't tell this one to delay. We'll want to take it at 67, not 70, because we want to start the spousal. There's too much cost to wait. It's $500 a month to wait. I would just take it. So if there's a big disparity here, we're probably not going to delay till 70 in most cases. Does that answer that question? Okay. Now the next one is very important. The next thing you got to think about is a survivor benefit. If let's use another scenario. Let's use where 67, let's say it's $3,000 and $2,000. There's no spousal benefit, is there? But what if I delay mine to get 4,000 at 70? That might make sense now. Now the spouse here takes it early and this spouse delays. Why? The older spouse, usually male, sorry to say, probably die first. So I might delay my Social Security to leave behind a death benefit. See, when I pass away, if I've delayed my 4,000 and I die, my wife gets what? The whole 4,000. She loses the 2,000 and gets the 4,000. So I might delay my Social Security because I'm 3 years older than my wife and I like her. Right? So she's younger, so she's probably going to take hers early, and I'm going to delay mine because when I pass away, I want to leave behind a big benefit. Now, when husband or wife passes away and leaves a single behind, that person's tax bracket goes through the roof. So if I can leave behind more Social Security income that's taxed less, I'm doing such a huge favor there. It's a huge benefit. Question?
Hi. So let's say that you save it so that your social security went up to 4,000, and your wife was at 65 when you passed away. Then can she start drawing 4,000?
She would get the 4,000.
Yes. No deduction, even she's not 67 yet.
Yeah.
But then she still continues to work.
She could still work. You're getting a little technical on me. I would ask that to Leor later because he can use the software. Yeah. You can work under age 67, but if you take Social Security, there's a chargeback. So she might have
That's
to.
what I mean.
She
Does
might
it
have to
apply
delay it.
chargeback?
She might have to delay it 2 years. She might have to delay the Social Security 2 years.
Oh,
If she's
I see.
65.
Because if she's taking now, she will.
Yeah,
be
if she's still
subject
working.
to chargeback.
Yeah.
Like $1, you pay back 50
Yeah,
cents.
that's right.
Okay.
So now divorce benefit. Anyone divorced, don't raise your hand. Divorce benefit also says that you can take your benefit or 50% of your ex's benefit, whichever is greater. Just as if you were married. Okay, divorced still as if you're married. If you have more than one ex, you can pick the biggest Social Security. And if neither one of them are higher, find a third. Okay, so we've got 15 minutes left. You guys okay?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to focus now on taxes a little bit more, kind of finish the class. When you're dealing with Social Security, is it taxable? For some people, there's no
Yes.
tax. For some people, you pay tax on half of it. Some people you pay tax on 85% of it. No one pays tax on 100% of it. No one. So it's still better than an IRA.
Except for California,
You do pay state tax.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know I'm not a CPA, but yeah. But federally, you're not paying like you're paying on everything else. So the key here is to understand provisional income. Provisional income is all your income plus half the Social Security. So the key is to get your provisional income down. Reduce it when you're taking Social Security. There are 4 ways to reduce your Social Security provisional income. One is to eliminate interest, dividends, and capital gains off your tax return by moving that money to tax deferred. The second way is if an RMD is causing your provisional income to go up and pay tax, cancel your RMD. You can cancel the RMD by converting your IRAs to Roth IRAs.
But you still have to pay for the taxes.
Yeah, but do it before you take Social Security. Do the Roth conversions before Social Security. And then thirdly, if you're married, you might want to change your RMD from a single life to a joint life age. You're allowed to do that only if your spouse is at least 10 years younger. So if your spouse is not 10 years younger, find one that's at least 10 years younger. All right, let's run through here. So if you come into the office, by the way, bring your financial statements, bring your statements from Schwab or Fidelity or Morgan Stanley or whatever. We'll do a risk report on that, no charge. It'll tell you exactly, can you help me with that?
Yes.
Exactly what your risk is on your portfolio. We'll do a Roth conversion report. We'll do an analysis to make sure your money lasts your lifetime. All that stuff at no charge. Now, there's our office over in Town Center. So let's focus on the next 12 minutes on a tax idea. We talked about tax rates going up. And there's a book out there called The Power of Zero. If you come into the office, we'll give you that book. It was by David McKnight. It's made into a movie called The Power of Zero. His whole concept is if you have the right amount of assets in each department, or the right amount of income from each department, you'll pay no tax. So your money, your assets should be divided into 3 departments or 3 buckets. You should put all the money that you have in 3 columns. The first column is your taxable money. This is any money where you get a tattletale note in February at $10.99. Earn $6.50 at Bank of America, right?
Yeah.
Any taxable interest, dividends or capital gains. That's taxable money. The nice thing about taxable money is it's fairly liquid. Therefore, it can be used for emergencies. How much money should you have in an emergency fund at all times? About 6 months of expenses, right? So if you have more than 6 months in the taxable column, you are voluntarily paying too much tax. Remember that case that I talked about today at 2 o'clock? They had $1 million in this column. They were earning 5%. They're making $50,000 a year, all taxable. They don't need $1 million in their emergency fund. So what did we do? We took that whole account and we moved it over to here. We could also move it over to here if we wanted to, but we moved it into there. And so now we're paying no income tax in this column because we're not making much interest. So the 0. Now, in tax deferred, what money grows tax deferred? 401ks, IRAs, right? They grow tax deferred. If you have the right amount of money in this column, you'll also pay no income tax. I'm going to use a married couple as the example. If they have $800,000 combined when they retire at age 65 or 66 or 70 or 73, and they take a 4% withdrawal out. Why do I use 4%? Because that is the amount you have to take out when you're 73. By the way, the worst time to take an RMD or a withdrawal from an IRA is 73, 72, and 71. The very best time to take money out of an IRA is not at age 70. It's when you retire. It's when you're in the lowest tax bracket. It's before you take Social Security. That's the best time to take money out of an IRA. Don't wait till RMD age. So, this married couple, $800,000 when they retire. If they take 4% out, it's how much? $32,000? Guess what their standard deduction is? $32,000. That's the power of zero tax. If you're gonna have more than this at age retirement, or more than this at age 73, you should do something about it. You should maybe change. Maybe stop adding to the 401k. Maybe add to the 401k Roth. Anybody have a 401k Roth at work? That's a tax-free account. Instead of adding to the IRA, contribute to the Roth IRA. If you still have too much, roll the 401k out tax-free to an IRA. If you do a 401k rollover to an IRA, not only do you have unlimited investment choice, you can now start doing what? Conversions to a Roth IRA. Any amount, any time. That allows you to start converting. So get yourself down to the right number. Now, everyone in the room, the right number is different. Because some of you are single, some are married, some have a pension, some have real estate. So this is just an example so that you understand how you think about it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So once you get it to the right number, you got 0, 0. Once you start taking money out of your LERP, or out of your Roth, or out of the MEC, if you do it right, that's tax-free. So if you got 0 taxes, 0 taxes, 0 taxes, how much tax do you think you'll pay on Social Security? Probably close to 0, as long as your provisional income is in the right spot. So this scenario here is a great way to start thinking about how to restructure things from a tax perspective. Now, why are taxes gonna go up? 2026? But remember, when you send $1 to the IRS, 62 cents of that dollar is only gonna cover 3 things. What are those 3 things? Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. 10,000 Americans had their 65th birthday today. And another 10,000 is going to turn 65 tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day for 10 more years. When they turn 65, what do? They go on Medicare. They turn on their Social Security. Do you think 62 cents is going to go up or down? It's probably going to go up. So we need to take more taxes to do that. By the way, Medicare and Medicaid are 5 times more expensive than Social Security. When I moved to the United States in 2000, the debt was $5 trillion. What's it now? 35 trillion. Interest on the debt back in 2000 was 5%. It was doable. Interest on the debt last year was 0.5%. Now it's 4%. Do you think the government can afford 4% interest on 35 trillion? By the way, the government's budget shows 0.5%, when in fact they're paying 4%. We've got issues here. I grew up in Saskatchewan, Canada. It's a province bigger than Texas, and only 1 million people live there, and they're all farmers. So what did we do? We played outside, we ran around gopher holes, and we ran down the railroad tracks, and when the freight train came, we got off the railroad tracks.
Sorry.
That makes sense? So I can hear the freight train coming again, and that's called higher taxes. So what should you do when you hear the freight train come? You should probably get off the railroad tracks. This is a great way to get off the railroad tracks. So in closing, we've got 4 minutes left. We're going to show you how to go from a taxable income of 22% bracket to 0 in 4 minutes. And this is something we would do with anyone that comes into our office for a visit. It's part of the first 10 minutes. So this example that we're gonna show you, Leor's gonna use the computer, and while he's doing that, I'm gonna draw it on the board just a little bit bigger. But here's an example of John and Jane Doe, 65 years old, came into the office and they said, we're gonna retire and we're gonna turn Social Security on, and that income is gonna be $40,000 a year. We're gonna take IRA withdrawals of $40,000 a year, and we're gonna have an $80,000 income. Leor looks at the computer and says, oh my gosh, it's a 22% tax bracket. That gray area is the double tax on Social Security. They should only be in the 12% bracket. The 12% bracket goes up to $126,000 of income. They only have an income of 80, and they're in the 22%. So what Leor does, he clicks that green button, he says, let's change it. Let's not take Social Security right now. Let's take the full $80,000 out of the IRA. And oh my gosh, what happened? We went down to 12% tax. Is 12% better than 22?
Yes.
Sure. So we delay Social Security a little bit and take the full 80 from the IRA. But Leor does something which he's very good at, professional at, is tax bracket topping. He says, how much more can we take out of the IRA and still pay 12%? He can. How much can we take out?
45,000.
How much?
45.
$45,000 additional out of the IRA and still pay 12%. And of course, John says this. He says, I don't need the extra $45,000. And Leor says, but take it. Pay the 12% and put it in a Roth IRA. The Roth will never be taxed the rest of your life. That's a Roth conversion.
But you can't touch that Roth for 5 years.
No, you can touch it next day.
Really?
Oh,
Yep. The 5-year rule is misconstrued and most people don't understand it. There is a five-year rule. The $45,000 that you convert, you can take that out anytime you want. The interest you make on it is a 5-year rule. So you can touch the 45, but most people that convert, we're going to plead with them, don't spend the Roth. That's the best asset you have. Please spend the IRA. Spend some other money. But you can touch the Roth converted amount anytime you want. Now, if you did a Roth 5 years ago or 4 years ago, you're already past the 5 years. Anyway, so you got to remember, it's not when you do, it's the first Roth you did. Anyway, so Roth conversion, what Leor calls tax bracket topping. Now, we do that at age 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. Age 70, we do what? We turn on Social Security. Because now we've delayed it as long as we can. Now we're going to get $55,000 from it, but we're only going to do 50. Let's just illustrate $50,000. So we take $50,000 Social Security at age 70, and then we say to ourselves, let's only take the money out of an IRA, the right amount, to not pay any tax. How much is that? 22,000? Right? 22,000 from an IRA, Social Security, we got $72,000 of income. What tax bracket are we in, folks? 0. 0. But they wanted $80,000 of income, right? We're short, aren't we? How much are we short? So let's take the $8,000 from what? The Roth. That's tax-free. So we went from a 22% tax to a 12% tax to 0 in 4 minutes. Okay, so whatever tax bracket you're in, do the tax bracket topping with a Roth conversion. And do it before you take Social Security. In the best.
You can't live the same way on $80,000 a year. That's right.
You know, you double it, it's still tax-free if you did it right.
Really?
Sure, because you would just supplement with the Roth. So if you need another $25,000 or $35,000, do it, take it out of the Roth.
But what if I'm in a pension and I'm making that?
Again, you come in to do a second opinion. I mean, put it this way, if I can save you some tax, is it worth it? If I can get you to 0, it's even better, but most people come in and say, we can save you 5 or 10 or 20,000 in tax, it's worth a visit. Some people we can get to 0. not everybody. Okay, so in closing, take advantage of that free visit. It's 45 minutes to an hour. We won't ask you to become a client unless you come back on a second visit. If you come back on a second visit, we're gonna propose something that we think is gonna save you fees, reduce tax, make you more interest and less risk, and that might be worthwhile. Question?
Yes, the conversion has to make before December 31st, or it can
December
be before
31st.
filing.
December 31st. Yeah, you can't do it in April. Okay, thanks you guys for coming. We do this, yes, anything? Yep. Hand your sheet into Brock and Leo and I'll be at the back and we'll give you your, the appointments are on the board back there.